These past couple of years, one of my hobbies has been learning Japanese. And one of the nice things about this age we live in is that there are so many good resources for that online that are either free or don't cost that much. There's like Duolingo and Wanikani and Bunpro and Japanese Bot 101, News in Slow Japanese, all kinds of YouTube channels. It's great. And the thing we're going to focus on today is Wanikani, which is a site that specifically teaches you the kanji characters. It uses this thing called the spaced repetition system, where you learn a bunch of little things and then every once in a while it quizzes you on those things. And if you don't do your reviews, then oh fuck me. Anyway, the way that the site works is not that important. Some people don't like it. Some people do. I've been, I feel I've learned a lot from it, so I'm quite happy. Also, I'm not being sponsored by this I'm not being sponsored by this site. I mean, if you did want to send me money, I don't think I'd say no. One of the aspects of this site that seems to be kind of divisive is the example sentences. Some people feel that they're just, first of all, they're too difficult and they get a little bit too wacky and they don't actually help you with learning the words. I think there might be a legitimate point there. I personally don't mind it too much because, well, first of all, the example sentences are a bit of a bonus. You don't necessarily need them to learn the vocabulary, and I find them kind of entertaining to read, even though they don't necessarily help me that much. And they get really creative with these things. That's really what I want to talk about here. I might mess up the reading of some of these, so and feel free to point that out, but please be nice. I'm only learning. Here's a common word: wind, kaze. And when you scroll down to the context sentences, the first one usually tends to be something pretty basic and understandable. 外では冷たい風が吹いていました. Cold winds were blowing outside. And then it throws a curveball at you. You get stuff like 風が彼女のカツラを吹き飛ばした時に私は自分が坊主の女性にとても魅力を感じることに気がつきました. When the wind blew the wig off her head, I realized that I'm really attracted to bald women. Shout out to bald women, by the way. If you're a bald woman, I hope life is treating you well. But I think you can see the point here. These sentences go to places where you wouldn't expect them to go. One of the things I like about a lot of these sentences is that they're almost like compressed short stories. It's only one sentence, but just reading it, you just immediately, you automatically start imagining this whole scenario around it. There is so much implied in just a few words. Like this one, for example. このおなら計画. That doesn't really feel right for this one. Let me try to do this properly. このおなら計画が成功するには君の援助がぜひ必要です. Your assistance is vital to the success of this fart plan. Think about this stuff like a premeditated farting incident. How often do these happen, and what exactly does it entail? Like, the first possibility that comes to my mind is like that Hitchcock movie, The Man Who Knew Too Much, where they had the bad guys were planning an assassination in a concert hall so that the gunshot had to be timed exactly in sync with a particularly loud cymbal crash. So maybe the plan is they're gonna go to a classical music concert and they're gonna fart without anyone noticing it. Or maybe the fart is the thing that is hiding something else. A gunshot. That's the way I want to go when my time's up. Of course, there are other, less violent options. Like recently, you may have heard this story about that lady who was trying to sell her farts in a jar. And I mean, and she was successful. She made good money. Take notes, fellow musicians. The problem was that she was on this diet that would stimulate the gas. And eventually, I mean, it was so bad for her stomach that she just had to quit the business for health reasons. These people have cracked the code. When they share the duties between two or more people, then they can supply the same amount of the product without it being so bad for their bodies, which, there are further questions that come to mind, like how open are they going to be about the fact that this gas is coming from several different people? Is that going to be something that everyone knows, or is it the sort of situation where one of the people is like a TikTok star or something, and then the other person is their ghost father. Okay, so this one could actually be pretty useful. Sometimes when you travel abroad, something happens and you will need the assistance of local medical services. And if that happens, you will want to be able to say, 私は薬の中で座薬が一番好きです. Which means, my favorite kind of medicine is the suppository kind. What about this one? あんたの乳首からケツが吹き出しているのを見て、思わずパニックちゃったよ. When I saw all the blood spurting out of your nipples, I couldn't help but panic.
Oh, my nipples explode with the light!
Also, like, one of the things about learning any language is that at some point you will have to learn all the adult expressions. You don't want to say them by accident, and you might encounter them out in the wild. And in such a situation, it's good to be able to recognize them. I thought I would use some examples from the vocabulary page for orgy. But it turns out that actually they have removed that page from the service. But luckily, I happened to screenshot that on my phone when it was still up. 何か今日の俺、マジでイケてる。ひょっとしたらあいつらの乱交パーティーにも誘われちゃうかも。そうだといいね。I look so good today, I may be asked to join an orgy. Haha, you wish. Testicles. A very important word if you want to understand classical Japanese art. Or this very beautiful expression that I once bumped into. 金玉が上がったり下がったり. Being held in suspense, being on edge, scared stiff. One's testicles going up and down. I don't know if this is something that anyone would ever say in real life, but it's a beautiful expression. 金玉がヒリヒリするんです. My testicles sting. And sadly, I don't mean like my testicles sting. And then there's this word. I don't think I need to tell you how to pronounce this. I think you'll know this one. It turns out this word can also mean metamorphosis. So of course I had to look up whether Franz Kafka had actually written hentai. But sadly, no. It's henshin in that context. Like sometimes these sentences just get unnecessarily dark. And this is... Yeah, I'm not gonna even say this. Just look at it. Well, I mean, one of the ideas of the site is that if something produces an emotional response in you, then you are more likely to remember it. And, well, that... yeah, that definitely gets a response. I think that's just about enough for today. If you want to comment something, then please go easy on me. This whole YouTuber thing is very new for me, and it's very much a learning experience for me. But I mean, if I like the way that this one turns out, I might do more of these. There is no message from a sponsor because nobody knows me at this point, but I do have a band. This is my band. Please go listen to my band. Did I mention that I have a band? It's a progressive rock band, so it's like rock, but less cool. But it's very good music. So please listen to my band. And if you're wondering, like, is that a reference to... Yes, it is. So remember to like and subscribe to my band's channel. And this one.